Hello and welcome. It's another Saturday, and it's so awesome that you are all here. And I always do these really bizarre intros, don't I? I always feel like an absolute fool. But anyway, if you're here for the first time, welcome to the most foolish stream ever. But it's because we're just a bunch of crazy musicians. Anyway, a big welcome to you if you're new, and also a big welcome to you if you've been here forever. And in fact, I actually do feel a little bit sorry for you. But anyway, moving right along, this is a really cool show. Let's say hi to all of our guests. Let's have a really quick snapshot of everyone there. We're going to start with, let's all just wave. Hi, everyone. It's like the Brady Bunch. Hi, everyone.
Hey everyone.
Let's go from the top left and we'll sort of go bottom, then right. Not in any sort of bad order. Let's go to Darren. How you going, Darren? How's your week been?
Hello. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Doing a track for sort of thing. She sort of mentioned doing a 1/4 beat track, so been working on that all week. Featuring Faith Hill.
Fantastic. That is awesome. And just keep talking for a sec because I have I have neglected to put. Well, actually, I might be able to do. Actually, no, it's all right. I can put. Let's put Andrew up. Hello, Andrew. A big warm welcome to you. Now, let me put your name underneath you somehow.
That'd be good
if I can. I'm trying. Does it work if I go like that? Oh, look at that. That is
very nice.
Big warm welcome to you, Andrew. Now, I'm just going to do a very quick intro here, and we'll get stuck into the more deeper intro. But for those who don't know Andrew, he's a big synth guy, just like us. And he helps run a local synth meetup in your city, which is awesome. But more importantly, Andrew's been involved in the development of MIDI 2.0, and that's why we've got him on the show today. So thanks so much for joining us today, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So obviously we'll get our teeth stuck into MIDI 2.0 a little bit later. But yeah, obviously now it's really nice just to intro you and everything. So it's awesome that you're here. Okay, let me just turn that off and now go to another new person today. And it's not Andrew. That one is a complete fail. All right, let me see if we can fix that up for you. There you go, look at that. The magic. And a warm welcome to you, Chob.
Hello everyone.
This is Chob, everyone. And we all know him as Inverted Popes.
Hello everyone. Nice to be here finally.
Nice to see your face. It's been a while since we like to sort of know everyone, and Chob, you've been on the chat for ages, probably from the early days, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome to have you. Awesome to have you. Don't be too scared, mate. We're all pretty friendly. We're all pretty friendly. Look at that. I'm gonna make you merge into the corner.
I'm just gonna. There I am. I'm just checking. I'm in the corner again. Where I belong.
Back in your corner, boy. No, it's good. It's
studio looking tidy.
Yeah, very nice. I love the little Moog in the corner there too.
Yeah. The irony is, this week I've completely dismantled the studio because I'm rebuilding it. I didn't like the way it was set out before. It was on different levels, and it wasn't conducive to my workflow. And a couple of hours ago, there was nothing here really. So I've had to put in the table and chuck stuff on top, so you didn't have to just stare at me all the time. You can at least see some of the gear I've got. The rest is in boxes in corners.
Oh, that's okay. We can do that.
That's the only reason I have all the synths and stuff behind, so you can look around the room rather than at what I am.
I don't think that's quite true, Dan. I don't think that's quite true. Anyway, beautiful. Okay, now I've got all the screens all set up. I actually had them all sort of whackety whack before, but anyway, it's all good. We like to have fun on the stream. Anyway, it's always a challenge. Let's get stuck into our usual segments. Now, for those who have never ever been here before, we have a couple of little segments that we like to run on here, and the first one that we do is a great little episode of Funny Side. And that's right. This is where you have reached the end of the internet, and at the end of the internet, there is supposed to be something humorous. But guess what? I hate to disappoint you, because I'm definitely not going to be doing that. But anyway, while we've got you, let's have a look at these funny things. So, oh geez, how many people have got these? These are those little black power supplies you get with all your hardware gear, and they do tend to get separated. Let's say that it's a bit like a marriage, isn't it? They do tend to get separated, and this bloke here is telling his son that one day all my perfectly good AC adapters will be yours. I've got a box like that. Oh dear. That one kind of meant a lot to me, I think. But anyway, moving right along. Next one. I've only got 2, so don't worry. This one really struck a chord with me. So this is a bit of a Star Wars thing. I've just learned the terrible truth. I think Chancellor Palpatine is a synth lord. That was a good one. So if it makes you laugh when you see it and it doesn't make you laugh a second time, maybe you shouldn't have used it. No, but that won't work. That was good. All right, that's it for today. I just wanted to do a quick one. Quick reaction from the lads here. What do you think of Funny Side this week, guys?
I particularly like the second one.
The Synth Lord one? Yeah, we can all relate.
I relate to the first. Absolutely relate to the first one because I've got boxes of them.
Yeah, I've got this massive big box that is full of them all, and every time I want to pull something out and use it, I've got to sift through this box and try and find the actual power supply that actually was supposed to be used for it. And sometimes it doesn't work. Anyway,
but can you remember what each one's for though?
Well, I've been a bit nerdy and I've labelled most of them, so in that case we're pretty good.
No.
Get the dynamo.
Wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah. Now we still got Andrew. Is he still there, or is he paused on us? Looks like
he's freeze framed.
Looks like he's glitched out a little bit.
Frozen.
Andrew, you might. No, you're still there. Yeah, you're still there.
I'm still here.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've got a box like that.
You got a box like that?
And I actually am one of.
I think we lost him a little bit there.
Oh.
Yeah, what a bugger. Let's see if we can get it. Let's see if we can get him a bit better. Yeah, we got you really great. You're back again. Interwebs are playing up. We've got him back. All right, let's persevere. Anyway, hopefully we can improve that. All right, what do we got next? We do have a bit of news. Let's get stuck into news. Roll us down. Now, last week, you guys might remember, we did a few news articles and we didn't have videos for it. And I kind of felt like it was a little bit... it just felt us feeling a little bit flat that we couldn't really get a demo of what it was that we're talking about. This week, I promise I will not disappoint. There is definitely videos for these. So obviously the big news is everyone probably has been waiting to hear about this. And if you've been living under a rock, you probably don't know anything about it. But anyway, Electron has got a new groove box. They probably hate us calling them groove boxes, but anyway, bad luck, Electron. Yes, it's called the Model Cycles. And yep, the Model Cycles is out. Does it look like something else they've released? Yes, it does. Is it pretty much similar to the other one that they released? Well, yes and no. So let's have a little bit of a look at Model Cycles. Now, it's a 6-track FM synthesis machine. Now, when I say machines, they actually they kind of have the emphasis on the plural word machines, and that is because it has a kick machine, a snare machine, a metal, a perk, which is short for percussion, I'm guessing, tone, and chord. So these are all different machines in it. Now, inside each machine, there's a whole bunch of different patches, I guess you'll call it. And then you can obviously use FM synthesis to mangle them as well. You can also use it as a MIDI sequencer, and you can create up to 96 projects with each of them having 96 patterns. So you can do your maths, how much craziness you can get up to there. And it's got similar specs for the rest as what the Model Samples does. So like the FX, the way it works, the sequencer, all that sort of stuff. So who wants to know how much it is? I bet everyone does. 329 euros. And it's available now-ish. When I say now-ish, it means that there's people that have got them already, and I don't know if that's because this is Electron just shipping them out to people who want YouTube videos of it, or if that actually means that there's shops that have actually shipped them out. I actually couldn't get the answer to that, but you can actually order them So I think through Toman. Anyway, now I'm getting chat messages. Am I? No, we're good. Okay, cool. All right, so let's keep going. I was just hearing my thing going beep beep. Okay, so do I have a video? Do you guys want to watch a video on the model samples, or have you guys all just seen it and you're pretty much... Let's just get a quick reaction from the guys here. Who's all seen the model samples already? Sorry, the model cycles already, sorry.
I've seen it. I've seen it in action.
Yeah.
A little bit of news, but go on.
Okay. I'm happy to do one of my friends. Let's just get him up. We'll just do a video on it. Won't be long. Dun, 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 dun. Andrew, are you still here with us?
Hello there. Today's an exciting day because...
Sorry, Bo. We're not going to listen to that.
I was going to say that's not Andrew.
I don't think we've got Andrew for the moment. I think he's paused, so we're going to have to fix him in a sec. We'll just do this one. Ooh, an error. Why did I get an error?
Talking of news, then, while you're looking, you remember that TS1?
Hello
that,
there.
The TS1. They're supposed to be in the next couple of months. They're supposed to be releasing when the release date and how much it's going to be.
The TS1.
You remember that little like a MIDI? Well, I wouldn't say MIDI controller, but you know, like for arpeggios.
Yes, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah, they say in the next 2 months or a few months they're going to be releasing news on when it will be available and how much.
Okay, that's good. We can definitely check that out again. All right, so I've got the video keyed up. We won't do too much of this, but the start, we're going to use Bo's because Bo's a cool bloke. The start of it is pretty good. Let's just go with it.
Welcome to Bo Beats. My name is Bo, and today I'm excited because we're checking out the new Electron model cycles.
I reckon this little video part here is good.
This is the model Cycles. It builds on the design from the model samples, and it's a 6-track groove box based on FM synthesis, featuring 6 unique machines that you can load into any track.
All right, we've got everyone back, and we've got a lot of noise. What's the noise coming from? Where is that noise coming?
Storm.
It's gone. Okay, good. What did you guys think of the little video model cycles? It's pretty interesting, isn't it? Who wants to have a bit of a feedback on that one? What about you, Chob?
Have a go.
Yeah, have a go, Chob.
Yeah, it's an area I've not delved into. These kind of devices, MPC, etc.
Yeah.
But from what I was being shown there, I mean, obviously you put it in the hands of an expert, as been pointed out before, it looks amazing. I bet you if you put it in my hand, it wouldn't look quite so amazing, but I'd really like to have a go with one.
Yeah.
I'd love to have a go with one.
Have you got
It's something that
any
I've been
FM experience?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot. It's an area I'm kind of wanting to move into, potentially. There's a few decisions I have to make before I get there and start spending money, basically. But these kind of things I'd love to have a go with.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, that was a pretty good. I like that. I think it was good. Darren, what about you? Are you into that sort of FM?
I like the look of it, and I like the sound, but I'm a bit like IP there. It's like I try not to watch too many people doing really good demos of things, because usually if I go for something because it sounds really good, I don't get on with it. So I really have to go with what I'm sort of thinking of looking for and what's specking how it looks. I try not to concentrate on people playing them because they can usually play it better than I can anyway. Yeah. So when I get it, I just go, I don't like it, I can't do anything with it because I'm not good enough.
I actually had a similar thought.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah. Andrew, are you interested in any of this sort of stuff?
Look, went through all of that stuff, especially with things like the Electribes. It reminds me a lot of those. And I get really frustrated with that sort of 64-step limit.
Yep.
In these kinds of devices. But it's really nice as far as creating FM sounds if you don't want to have to go through the trouble of actually programming FM, because it's so horrible to program.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. There we go. A quick and easy way to get yourself into FM. There we go. I like that. I'm quite happy with that. All right, now let's move on to the next news thing. There wasn't that many, so don't worry. Let's go straight to here, and then we'll go down to here and try and find it in my big pile of craziness. Here we go. Look at this one. I've got a feeling we've shown this before. This, or Enki's mentioned it or something. But anyway, this is the what do they call this thing again? The Daisy, that's right, from a company called Electro. Now, this really flies down my alley. You guys will probably guess why in a second. But this is a Kickstarter project which offers an embedded platform, which you'll see in a minute how cool this embedded platform is. And it's basically, it's like a geeky techno, like electronic sort of platform where, not techno music, but technology, I meant, for creating music. Now, they've got, as you can see in the picture there, they've got a platform where it offers a guitar pedal, kind of like a template as such, a desktop synth, a Eurorack module. There's also just the basic pod and, or field they call it. So there's kind of, there's a lot to like about this, because you can sort of take this down your path. You know, if you're a Eurorack guy, you can take it down that path, or if you're a desktop synth guy. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a path you can take it. Now, the whole system, this is where I like it, is based on an STM32 ARM Cortex-M7 CPU. Now, if that means nothing to you, think Arduino, but much, much, much more power than an Arduino, which is really cool. And, but, you know, in that sense, if you've got some familiarity with programming an Arduino, this should step right into that sort of side of it. It does offer some brilliant audio. If you're into the audio side, it offers 24-bit 192K AKM codec stereo, which is awesome. And you can also add additional channels via the mods and everything you'll see electronically. You can have TDM, I2X, PDM, and SPDIF as well via the pin headers. So there's a big, massive expansion benefit to this. And for those who love MIDI, it does offer full USB MIDI. And also you can, if you like the old-fashioned MIDI DIN, you can also do that via the UART pins. Or you can even use TRS cables if you like, if you're into that sort of semi-old but new MIDI TRS versions. Anyway, so Daisy is now available on Kickstarter. I'll stop talking about it, and I want to show you a little video. I actually think this is pretty cool. Where is the video, guys? It is here. Let's go full screen and hit. This is the Kickstarter video.
Hi, Michael with Electrosmith here, and today we're going to be looking at a generative synthesizer that we have programmed and USB flashed onto the Daisy that you can see here, which is sitting in the Daisy pod, our breakout board. The synthesizer itself was coded in C++, where we created a sawtooth synthesizer that is running through a reverb, with all the resources being pulled from the Daisy API and DSP library that we are developing. It was then USB flashed onto the Daisy here, which is also being powered right now by USB, and we are able to control it with the Daisy pod. So you can see here, we are able to trigger a random note that is selected within a major scale and is indicated via a little LED flash. To the right, we have our decay control. So you can go from sharp plucks to longer drawn out notes. And then to the right of that, we have our reverb mix. So you can go with very little reverb all the way to long drawn out lush reverbs. And all together, it makes for a wonderful little synthesizer that makes beautiful music.
Anyway, it probably wasn't the greatest example of a synthesizer ever known to mankind, but I think if you were paying attention to this, the cool thing about it is that synthesizer existed purely in code, which meant that you could pretty much write your own synthesizer algorithm and make this thing do that. Now, I wish they showed the Euro rack and the desktop modules and the guitar pedal, so that would have been cooler. I think there's some videos on their way out very soon with that. So that's just a quick and dirty taste of the Daisy from Electrosmith. There was a video on NAMM about it, but I just didn't like the footage was a bit noisy, and most NAMM videos are a bit like that. So if you do want to check it out, I will link in the video description below. You can check it out later. Obviously, don't leave. Got to watch the show first. Yeah, so quick reaction from you guys. What do you guys think of that? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah?
I actually got to have a look at this at NAMM, and it was pretty awesome. I think the thing I like about it most is the amount of RAM that's actually on it. It's like 64 mega RAM, which if you have to work with any Arduino kind of stuff or even STM, that's a lot of RAM that you get to play with. So it's good for delays and these kinds of things, but also just you're not running out of that, hitting those walls when you're actually programming.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that it's very audio and MIDI orientated, which is really good. Awesome. Just the cost is good for what it is, but it's a little high.
Yeah, well, let's get to that. In fact, what I might do is just get another reaction from Darren or Chob. Any of you guys want to have a quick reaction to that? Chob?
I mean, listening to it straight from sort of my position, a sort of a musical approach, the sound of it was really nice. What I wanted immediately to do, of course, was chuck a sequencer at it to see what that can do, and loads of effects. Obviously, price. Now, are we going to be frightened by this?
Well, a little bit. So let's go to price. Okay, so they're available now on Kickstarter, and they're going to be shipping in April. And you can actually just jump onto the Kickstarter website and choose whichever one of these platforms you want. So the actual unit itself, like the base, bit of electronics, is only $29 US, which I think is super cheap. So this is where that's the cheap part of it, okay? But this is where it does get a bit pricey, and there's a really good reason for it, because it's a development platform. So you think to yourself, if I'm going to be developing a desktop synth and I want to be literally the pilot that decides everything that goes into this desktop synth, basically they're giving you the physical hardware building blocks from it, and then you can build on that, whether it be hardware and software or both. So that starts at, the desktop synth is, which is one called Field, I think, isn't it? $399 US, the most expensive one. You've got Patch, which is the Euro rack one, which is $329, and the guitar pedal one is $299. And also there's a pod, which I think he showed in that. The pod is $79. So you've got a bit of options there. So really, if you do buy one of those bigger platforms, that does include everything else in it. So you don't need to go and buy like Field for $399 and then go and buy Daisy. And do you know what I mean? It's got everything else included in it. So from that point of view, yes, it probably isn't too expensive, but can you go and buy a synth for $399 that has a sequencer and does a whole bunch of cool, bleeps and tweeps? Yeah, of course you can. Is that really what the purpose of this product is? Absolutely not. This is, a cool sort of geeky DIY synth thing that people would love. And I think at Eurorack people are screaming about how cool this is right now. So there's pictures of the Eurorack when I showed before. I'll chuck it up in front of our faces now. There. So you can see the Eurorack has got all the patch points on it. It's the bottom right one there. So it's already got all the CV and everything in it. So that makes that pretty cool. It doesn't make it completely 100% customizable, but once you've patched it into something else in your rack, that's when you go crazy with this sort of stuff. Anyway, that's the Daisy. So yeah, let's not sing Daisy songs. Anyway, let's keep going. I think there was one other bit of news, and we can't really sort of not say this is news because it absolutely is news. And this is it. Yep. We're going to be talking about this today. So we're not going to go into it just yet, but if you've been living under a rock, what the hell is this? I'm going to be showing this graphic again. Yes, MIDI 2.0. It's pretty much going to be there soon-ish. But yeah, if you want to find out all about this, I think today is going to be a really good start for you guys. If you've never ever read anything that's come out about it, today will help you. If you've read a heap about it, you might have some questions. Today's going to help you as well. So that's pretty much why that's a news item, because it really is. It's a new thing to a lot of people, and it's been hot in development. So, but before we get into MIDI 2.0, we're going to run a cool segment. Yeah, we found one. I love it when we find one. And this one's a beauty. I'm going to get you guys really involved in this. Pretend that you are surfing eBay right now, and then you've come across this Alesis HD24 ADAT twin upgraded twin. Sorry, I'm trying to keep a straight face. And it's working, and it has extras. But thinking about it, let's just read what this person wrote. Yes, it's only been used 3 times. And it still has protective plastic over the displays. Sorry, I'm laughing because you're about to see a photo of why I'm laughing. And it goes into a whole bunch of crap down the bottom. So don't you think, mate, if you're going to be putting a picture on eBay and you want to charge twice the amount that most of these go for, do you think maybe you should get maybe a cloth and just wipe the dust off of it? Just maybe.
Get a duster.
This one had me
to add that vintage effect.
Look at the dust! Oh my god! Does this guy? What is this guy? Does he actually empty his Dyson in his studio or something? Does he? What is he doing?
It's pure analog dust, though.
Yeah.
Adds a gritty sound.
That would have to be, that'd go down in history as one of the best eBay listings I've ever seen. Not because of the amount wasn't really scammy. It was just a bit sort of excessive, double what the others are going for. Only because he's used it 3 times. But if he's used that 3 times, he shouldn't be emptying his Dyson next to it. That's for sure. Wow.
I think he's only used that studio 3 times. It's been closed down for years.
Either that, or he's in desperate need to employ Sadie, the cleaning lady. Let's have a quick look at our guys in chat. We haven't said hello to them yet. Look at the chatties there. Yay! Let's go back and say a quick hi to everyone, because I forgot to do that, because I'm crap like that. All right, geez, I got to scroll heaps back. Hi to Triple Eight Berg, Axel Soft Music, Finn, how's it going? Brian, good to see you again. Who else we got? Scrolling. Inky, nice to see you in chat. Hope you're having a nice week off. Don't get too used to it, Inky. Mr. Max, good to see you. Who else we got? Hanway's there, Michael Elliott. Geez, lots of people. Michael B, good to see you again. And I'm scrolling really fast, and I bet you the mouse is going to scroll off the screen like it did yet last week. Where are we go? Scrolling. Foxy, Nirvana, nice to see you. If I've missed anyone, let me know, because there's a lot of you guys in here, and it's really hard to keep track. And Inky will say hi to you on my behalf. There's a guy called Neuron, New as in N-E-W-R-O-N Music. Nice to see you. It's probably a first time for you, so awesome that you're here. Maybe first time in the chat, maybe a lurker, I don't know. Chon Dublin's there, good to see you. Wow, big week this week with people. And I'm sure there are Sonic Neutronic, just trying to see if I've missed anyone out. There's a lot of people, it's awesome. And every single person that I've said hi to, we really appreciate you here. KRST Bedford Studios, nice to see you. Napalm 1334. Awesome, Nick. Nice to see you. Yeah, love some of these nicks. They're awesome. I think I've got through everyone. If I've missed anyone, just throw something at your screen. Like, grab a synth and throw it at your screen. And if that releases any anger, then I've helped you. See, I'm helpful like that. Anyway, okay. So let's do some further introductions. Chob. Nothing like getting you really into it this week. Now, I am really happy that you came on. Let me tell you, I love having guys that have been a big part of the channel in chat, and I really appreciate you coming on, because it's awesome to put a face to the name, and it's awesome to see everything that you're about. Yeah, there he is. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce his YouTube channel. And I'm going to play a little video first, because I reckon all of you guys should click on subscribe on this guy's channel, because it's bloody awesome. Here we go. Bang. And we click play. Isn't that a thing of beauty? Don't you reckon if you were to get a Mother 32 or a DFAM or anything like that, then you could literally just imagine that would be the first demo patch that would be playing on it. Like, that is just amazing. You know, the little pluckiness of the sequences, and at the same time you've got this awesome sort of spread of effects, kind of, you know, getting deeper and getting shallower, and then you've got your panning, and you know, and we could just look at flashing lights all day, couldn't we? But I mean, honestly, that's the epitome of awesomeness. Well done, mate. That's really cool. So,
and what do you think of the DFAM?
Yeah, what did you think of the DFAM?
So far, literally, I've had a couple of days with it. I was explaining earlier that I haven't had much time this week, but so far, I mean, it's very easy to use. I need to get my head around it a lot, of course. I'm discovering that the slightest tweak can change it massively from what you thought you were doing, and you try and revert back to where you were, but it's gone. But that doesn't matter. I just like using it. And the way it sort of works with, obviously, the Mother 32 is as it was designed to do, is great. I mean, I've got no problems with it. It's straight away, it just fits in with my little setup there. And that was the first thing that came out. So it'll be interesting to see what I can do next.
Well,
I said you needed a DFAM in your rig. You did. Yeah.
And it was going to happen, and it has. It came along at the right price, so I couldn't refuse it.
It's a bizarre thing there when you start playing with it.
I'm starting to really gas for one. I really am. I actually like it's percussive, but it's synthy. But you know, it's kind of it's maybe filling the gaps in between all that stuff. That's kind of how I feel. It does.
It sits right in the middle of all that.
Yeah. And
that's what I liked about it. You can push it either way. So it can be more synthy, or it can be more drum bass sound. It's up to you what you want to do with it. But for me, I turn it on and instantly it just creates great sounds.
Yeah.
You just basically mess about it, don't you? Sounds come out of it that you wouldn't even think of trying to create. It's one of those pieces of equipment that I've enjoyed, because you don't know what's going to come out of it, basically. It is literally, you don't know what will come out of it when you start messing about.
No, absolutely have no idea. And that's what's great about it. I love that element of surprise. That it's something I've been trying to break away from for years, coming from my background, where I felt that everything I did was in a kind of linear trap, whether it be VSTs or DAWs or even the gear I had. And this is possibly one of the first instruments I've had that just surprises me every time. It never does what you expect straight away, and it always does something different, and I love it.
Yeah, so we could call this the Happy Accident Machine 2.0.
Yeah.
We all need a happy accident machine, don't we?
Reverb and delay on it, and then you're to go.
Yeah.
And you're off.
Yeah. Ubiquitous. Awesome. Beautiful. Well, anyway, if you just joined us, we've just checked out Inverted Popes' channel, and I urge you guys to all click on that link in the description below and hit the big fat juicy subscribe button on his channel, because I have noticed that he's got a very good YouTube channel. I had a chat to him about it before, being a little bit knowledgeable about YouTube. He definitely does. I don't say this with BS attached to it. It's actually truth. He does have a good YouTube channel, so definitely check it out if you haven't. Anyway, let's get stuck into the big topic of the day. And without further ado, rub your hands together, Andrew, because I'm about to launch into a massive big tirade. All right, here we go. Okay, where's my graphic? Where's my graphic? Here we go. Yes, that's the graphic I had up before. Guess what? We're talking MIDI 2.0. This is it. So, what is MIDI 2.0? If you've been living under a rock, you should know. But if you don't, I'll tell you a little bit, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, so Andrew is going to correct all the firsts that I've said. Anyway, as you might be aware, MIDI's been around since the 80s, I guess, and nothing has really changed since then. Well, until now, of course. So MIDI 1.0 message was one direction. So it could only do one, send or receive. It could only do one thing at a time. And what MIDI 2.0 brings at a basic level is it brings bidirectional messages, which is actually going to make this thing really, really important. So that means devices can now talk to each other. And that means that they can auto-configure themselves, they can exchange information, they can exchange functionality, and that is why that is actually really important. So having said that, I have lost my graphic. Having said that, I was going to just launch into this massive, really, really cool thing, and I just lost my graphic. Be prepared, people. YouTubers, be prepared. Here we go. Having said that, let's not use too much of their terminology, but just understand that it's backwards compatible with MIDI 1.0. So that's probably the biggest fear that a lot of people may have. That's out the window. And how does it do it? Basically, it checks to see if you can talk MIDI 2.0. If you can't, it just automatically talks MIDI 1.0, and you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, so that's the big thing. It just simply does this through the MIDI CI, which is called the Capability Inquiry. Now, obviously, we want higher resolution. This was one of the big reasons why MIDI 2.0 came out. And so obviously we want higher resolution. We want to be able to turn that filter knob and not have any stepping. All this stuff's been around. We've all whinged about it for 30 years. And the thing about MIDI 2.0 is it's going to offer 32-bit resolution. So that's pretty big. 32-bit resolution, if you don't know what that means, it's fundamentally massive, considering that MIDI 1.0 was technically 14-bit resolution, but really more like 7-bit resolution, 7 to 8-bit resolution. Yeah. So let's not split hairs, but yeah. So it's massive increase. And one more thing before I jump on to Andrew is the new features. The new features are pretty cool. So you're going to get to understand and know these things over the next future. I don't know how long, but it'll be soon. You're going to understand what profiles are, and you're going to understand what property exchange is and what protocol negotiation is. And I'm not going to go into it because I don't need to, but we'll definitely get into some of this today. So let's talk a little bit about Andrew. So before Andrew speaks, I'm just going to put him up on the screen and put him in big lights. Here we go. So let me just say a little introduction to Andrew. Andrew is our special guest today, and the reason why he's our special guest today is because he's been consultant to MIDI.org in the development of the MIDI 2.0 specification, and he was predominantly working with the property exchange side, and now he's building test tools for the new spec, among a whole bunch of other roles. So Andrew, without further ado, thanks so much for joining us, and let's launch into it. So tell us a little bit about where it's come from and where you're up to now, and we can sink our teeth. And I'll keep an eye on the chatties.
Well, so MIDI's been around for 37 years, and MIDI 2.0 is probably best quoted as more MIDI. And we were made to sort of say this every time we went out somewhere, so we had to go more MIDI. Anyway, it's probably best broken up into two sections. So there is the new UMP, which stands for Universal MIDI Packet.
Yep.
And the idea behind that is that's what gives you the 32-bit resolution. So there's messages which are 32 bits, 64 bits, and then 128 bits. So the existing MIDI 1 messages, they fit in 32 messages, but the MIDI 2.0 messages are all 64-bit. So that's what gives you this sort of high-end velocity to things like Note On. You now have 4 billion steps per CC message. So you've kind of got the ability to have this kind of almost ridiculous amount of fine-tuning it and resolution on it. But it also gives you this whole idea of per-note expression, so that actually a bit like MPE, in the sense that you can actually have velocity and position on each key, or with a drum kit it might be by position, but also the melody size. And then there's a big part of that is also going to be what they call articulations, being able to do things like for orchestral stuff, what angle is the bow on, and is it going up or is it going down when it's actually being played? So for a lot of composers, it's going to come out and be have a lot more control. MIDI 1 just doesn't have.
Fantastic. All right. Well, why don't I think what we should do is, I reckon a good little sort of starting video for people who've never really seen MIDI 2.0 in action is that drawbar organ one. Do you reckon that's a good one, Andrew?
Yeah, bring that up.
Bring one up. Okay. Let's just give someone a taste. If they've never seen it before, well, here you go. I'm going to help you out. Okay, so let's grab it. Now, this is actually everything that we're going to be talking about today is, obviously Andrew's brain, so you can't really get into that. But if you want to get into it, you can go over to the MIDI.org website, and I think you have to sign up and get an account if you want to get really deep into it. But they do let you know a little bit, sort of, on basic knowledge you can get, but if you want to get really deep, you got to sign up and have an account. I've got an account with them. I've had it for years, but anyway, let's get.
And it's free.
And it's free, yeah. Don't be scared to sign up. Anyway, let's get into this one. This is a analog synth and a drawbar organ, and this part of it is talking about the new profile side to MIDI 2.0. Let's roll the video.
So the first thing we'd like to show you is an early prototype of an analog synth control. So what we've got set up here is we have the CS. It is connected by a 5-pin-in MIDI to the monologue. The volume on the CS is down, so what you're hearing when I play here is actually the sound of the monologue. This slider over here in the up position is profile off. So when I move the sliders here, nothing happens. If I go and I turn profile on, then all of a sudden, now I'm controlling the monologue from the CS. Now we can do it the other way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down the volume of the monologue and turn up the volume of the CS. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press a button here to turn the profile on. So now I am able to play. And I'm controlling the CS from the monologue. So what we've done here is we've enabled a profile in 2 directions connected by 5-pin MIDI. So in the profile, you have an initiator and you have a responder. And so we've shown that in 2 directions using 5-pin MIDI.
Okay, brilliant. All right, let's just pause the video. Okay, so the next part of this is they're going to look at, should we go into this, Andrew? They're going to look at the organ profile side. Or do you want to pause on that for a second?
Explain a little bit more about profiles.
Yeah, let's go.
So what was really interesting in that is you've actually got to realize that that is a Yamaha device talking to a Korg device. So that's probably the first thing. These aren't the same brands. But the idea behind profiles is that different instruments will have lots of different profiles, and it will be able to turn them on and off. And then the idea behind a profile is that everyone works the same way as much as they possibly can. So this has been a big problem where you've got these devices and they just don't sync. So this is what profiles is actually going to support. There's all different types of profiles coming.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Let's do the organ. Let's do it. Let's do it. Pretty sure I hit play. Yep.
Okay, the next thing we're going to show you is organ profiles. We have a YC reface organ over here, and on the other side we have the Roland VR09, and they are going to control 2 soft synths. So on the left-hand side, we have the soft synth that is connected by USB to the reface. And as you'll notice, when I move the faders here, nothing happens. And that's because I need to turn the profile on. This firmware has been updated, so when I move this all the way down, it enables the profile. Now I have control, turn the profile off, no control, turn the profile on, control. Pretty neat, right? And then on the other side, we've done the same thing with the VR09. If I get in here and press 2 buttons, the profile is enabled. I can go in, move the drawbars. I can turn the profile off, no control, and now I have control. So profiles allow us to automatically set up a device to be controlled by a specific set of MIDI messages. So it's very, very convenient for auto configuration. Something like a drawbar is a really easy example.
Yeah, it's a good example, that one. Because I think when we were talking before, Andrew, we were talking about that whole thing about communicating like bidirectionally. So if you're going to set up a synth and you've got a whole bunch of stuff on there, and then you basically would like that to do it to something else, and it's not, like you said, it's not the same brand, and you just think to yourself, wow, this would be a really cool thing. Isn't it nice to now know that MIDI 2.0 is going to be pretty much going to be able to do this? So it does kind of ring a few similarities with a few products that are out there on the market right now, and one of them that really sings to me right now is the way the new Omnisphere update that came out. So you guys might remember they brought out this update to Omnisphere where you could plug in like a Roland System 8 and automatically Omnisphere took on the persona of a Roland System 8. And you could have Prophet 6s and you know what I mean, like all of that sort of stuff. That's kind of, isn't it? That's kind of along the lines of what profiles are about, but there's also other things as well, right?
Yeah, and look, I think the thing to remember about the Omnisphere guys is they actually had to sit there and get all that information and collate it and spend time with all those different synths to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of time and a lot of effort for the average person. It's too much.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of other controller mapping kind of software, but that's a really good example of that kind of thing.
Mm. Yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you go. So let's probably take it to the next side of it, and that is the Well, we'll keep an eye on chat. If anyone has any questions, I just will bring the chat up for a sec. If you guys have questions about MIDI 2.0, I'm dead serious.
Ken did.
Definitely
Ken,
ask that
if
question.
you look back.
Yep, I will. So what I'll do is I will scroll through as we're seeing the show run, and I will flag any sort of specific questions, and I'll put them up. Now let's see if I can find Ken's. If it go back a bit.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask the really hard and curly questions either.
Okay, so the question is, here we go. Let me just do this and then this, and it should bring the question up. Did it? Here we go. I would like to hear thoughts about, from what I understand, there is no speed increase of the transfer rate.
Okay. So at the moment, with the new specifications, there's no transport being have been released. So there is a new USB 2 MIDI coming out. Lost the term for it. Class compliant MIDI 2 driver being developed right now by the USB-IF. Obviously, the interesting thing about the USB MIDI is that actually generally doesn't have a speed limit on it. Some devices will limit it to the same speed as a 5-pin DIN, but they actually don't need to. So you can actually do really speeds on MIDI 1 now with USB, just nobody does. So as far as transfer speeds are concerned, that's actually a big area for people to consider, and it's actually considered. And that's one of the reasons why I think 5-pin DIN is going to be a little bit tricky to back.
Yep. Okay. So we've also got that the CI, the core basically, which does determine whether we're talking MIDI 1, whether we're talking MIDI 2. And then we were talking earlier today off the show about USB-C, and obviously that's the go-to at the moment, but there are obviously other protocols and connectivity type things like Bluetooth, like network cables, like you can just about name anything. Like you could even look at network topology and stuff like that. So to get sort of delving into Ken's question along that same line, is that going to help with the transfer speed, or is that irrelevant?
Yeah, it is, and I think that is an interesting point about the networking. I think that's going to be. There's a lot of people who are interested in doing something along those lines. That looks like, who knows, but there's enough companies that are very, very keen on doing some kind of networking version. As far as USB-C, there's some talk about that as well, but it's early days. The first stage is going to be the USB transport because it's the second most common MIDI connection.
Yeah. Yeah, and most devices nowadays are shipping with USB, aren't they? So, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So there is another question that's popped up, and I don't know if it's a big one, but let's pop it anyway. I take it that the synths used in the demos were upgraded to 2.0. Now, I can answer that, but I'll let Andrew answer that. So go for that, Andrew.
I think in those demos, they were actually they're specialized firmware for those demos.
Yeah.
So with profiles and Profit Exchange, they can actually both run on MIDI 1 just over normal SysX right now. So there's nothing stopping companies from doing firmware updates if they really wanted to. Yes, but there's obviously, we'll have to see what happens with manufacturers and whether they'll actually do that.
Yeah. So probably not necessarily a question, but maybe a good discussion point is 888 Berg has said here, let's see if I can bring this one up. It does take a couple of seconds for the computer. There we go. Whether or not still love the programming approach. Now, I think this is probably a good question. I don't know if he meant this or not, but with the new MIDI 2.0 spec, let's just discuss a little bit about the programming side. So as musicians, we've programmed MIDI using NRPNs, CC, and even if you want to get really crazy, you can go into SysX. We talked about this earlier. So with the 2.0, what are we looking forward to from the musician programming side?
Actually, you brought up a really good point about NRPNs. They're really horrible to program.
Yeah.
Because when you're actually receiving them, you've actually got to keep a memory log of what was the last MSB and LSB, and then you've got to try and put it all together. It's actually not a lot of fun to program those. And so a lot of companies, a lot of places just don't support them. And you even find sequencers that just don't do NRPNs or RPNs. So because of the new structure of the UMP packet, they're actually just one message now, right? And the same if it goes bank changes and program changes. They're just one message. So I think that's going to be a lot easier for the programmers once they also move out of the 8-bit range.
Yeah. But they obviously they can still use the 1.0 programming as well. That's probably a good point too. So don't think, I'm going to adopt 2.0. My new synth has got 2.0 firmware. I'm going to lose all of those. Say you had like a Behringer BCR 2000 and it was set up and it was doing all this magic MIDI stuff in your studio. You can still use it. That's kind of, I think, the big thing that a lot of people I get to talk to, a lot of people are still fearful about. And I'm trying to the graphic really shows it, doesn't it? So let's bring that graphic up.
Yeah, and the actual documentation has translation about how you actually translate between the two.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Yeah, and that's right. So you can see in that you can see there's a thing called protocol negotiation down the bottom right, and that is basically that's part of the 3 Ps that they talk about in MIDI 2.0. That protocol negotiation is basically it's telling, can this device talk MIDI 1? Yes. Can it talk MIDI 2? No. So let's just talk MIDI 1 with it, and it'll just keep working. So that was what the big one was. So I think I mentioned it before, but yeah, it kind of is related to that programming question as well, I think. Am I going right there?
Yeah. And look, I think that's how to put it? I think there was a really big concern of the people who were doing all of that initial work, because they're all synth guys and they're key MIDI people all the way through. So they knew that they couldn't just change it all. As much as there might have been some temptation for some things, they knew that just wasn't going to work, which is why the UMP has different ability to do both MIDI 1 messages, MIDI 2 messages, but also they also wanted to do a lot of future proofing, which is why there's now this ability to do 8-bit messaging and 8-bit systems and stuff like that. And that's going to be quite exciting over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. Yep. So in terms of powering, like Triple A Berg's asking, will MIDI 2.0 be powered? Now, just
it's just buffering.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's just bring us back for a sec. You guys are still coming in, so we know I'm not off the internet. It could be a YouTube thing. Okay.
Phone's back on.
Looks like it's back on. Guys, can you tell us if we're back? And don't ask me what happened. We were still all just remember, all these guys that are in this call here, just everyone wave at the same time, right? None of them have been disconnected, so it was a YouTube thing. Anyway, what we got up to was I believe we were talking about, is it powered? We did answer that question. Andrew, you're still there, aren't you?
Yep, I am.
Yeah, okay, cool. So the answer is it's got nothing to do with, is it powered, is it a device? It's nothing like that. It's a protocol. So it'll be up to whoever adopts that protocol, whether it's power, whether it's not. It's a protocol. Just remember that. It's got nothing to do with anything hardware. Technically, it's a thing that people use in the music industry. All right, what we're going to do is Andrew was going to show us, making sure the stream is still working. Andrew's going to show us something from his end, which I think is really exciting, and it's good for me because I have to say this again, and pretend it was the first time I've said it. It's good for me because I've never seen this before either. Andrew, tell us a little bit about what you're going to show us, and maybe we can go from there.
Sure. So this did crash my stream earlier, so I'm hoping that it doesn't crash things now.
Okay.
So,
yep.
One of the things I've been working on is obviously property exchange.
Yep.
And so to kind of prove that property exchange could be used on smaller pieces of hardware, I actually took, I don't know if that actually is visible. That there is a open source synth called Groovesizer TV2.
Yes.
Which came out years ago. But the beauty about it is that it's all open source. It runs on an Arduino Ju. If you didn't notice at the top, it also has, normal 5-pin MIDI.
Yep.
So obviously the problem about something small like that is it's actually a little bit hard to kind of program. So I took this and did it as a demo. Now, I've got to share my screen.
Okay, I've got your screen. Do you want me to go across to it now?
Yeah, let's.
There you go.
All right. Let me see if I can move that across. So this is one of the testing tools that I've been working on, and
wow, hang on a sec. You're massively hot. Hang on, wait. Let me just pull this down a sec. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Go.
Go. So the idea behind this is it's a good idea of demonstration of how you can take a device, and if you can imagine that instead of being a testing tool, this would be a DAW, and it can try and learn everything it can about that device.
Yeah.
So click the button, and so what this has actually done is it's actually done a few different calls over the standard property exchange sysx.
Yep.
Okay, so it's a standard way of sending the information over JSON over sysx.
Yeah.
And it's gone off and it said, tell me some information about this device. So it's got its name. It's now got a local on-off switch, so you can actually, immediately know. It's got a little keyboard.
Yeah.
Whether that should be turned on. A ridiculously high tempo that it's pulled up.
Yep.
But you can also get things like device settings, and you can also go get your own list.
Okay.
Over on the other side, we've actually got what's called the channel list. And what the channel list does is tell me all the different channels and what's on them.
Right.
So this application that I'm showing you had absolutely no idea about this device except from what it's got over Property Exchange.
Yeah.
So one of the other things we can do is we can actually now pull up a patch list from the device.
Yeah.
Right? So we can actually then load up these packages. I turn on the Yappy Dog. And
you just
we actually
go
back here.
You just clicking on that will actually enable that patch directly on the synth. Cool.
That's right.
Yep.
And again, this would be up to the door manufacturer how they want to do that.
Yeah.
But that's potentially one way. The other thing we'll talk a lot about is getting a list of controllers.
Yeah.
So this device got a bunch of controllers.
Oh wow.
These are where they're at, and you can adjust those as you see fit, just using CC messages. So the idea behind this is you're just getting a list of that information, and a intelligent program could actually allow you to draw in those controllers without you having to actually look through the manual and actually figure out what it is you're trying to do.
Okay.
Right. So this is all of those time-saving, I just want to make music things.
So basically, this is the way that the devices communicate to each other, and all of this just automatically comes. So there's no from a musician's point of view, we didn't have to go and like twiggle knobs and click learn in your DAW, right? This literally just comes all in like that.
That's right.
And you can see all their settings, everything as it is right now on the device. Beautiful. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and the idea also is that machine readable too. So if you weren't using this kind of editor, you may have an actual controller keyboard, and it could pull up and say, oh, well, what's the list of controllers? And then automatically map them to all the knobs and sliders on the keyboard.
Yeah.
Right? And know what the current default values are for those controls. So the most exciting part of this that I like to get to, I'm just unfortunately just loaded on the wrong screen. And this does take a little while to load just because it's actually a lot of information coming over just normal 5-pin DIN, which is pretty slow. So this is an actual editor that's actually come from the device.
Yeah.
And I can actually go through and edit that information and that patch on the device. And I can change all of that if I have time. But the other thing too is if I then edit it on the device, and I'll just change the level.
I'll just get you back. Can you hold it up? Just hold it up in front of the camera.
Yeah, just to prove the thing.
Yeah, so you're wiggling that, and I'm just going to go back to this, and you can see that moving. Which one is it that's supposed to be moving? Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So this is what's called subscription.
Right.
So the idea is you subscribe to information, and it will actually tell you in both directions that information's been updated. And that's all of the built into proper.
All right.
So the idea being is it takes away all that frustration when you're actually trying to see what your patch looks like, or I've changed. I'm working on Cubase in Windows, and I've gone to an iOS device, or even just the web, and I want to edit that device. So the beauty I like about it, it's a really simple thing to explain in a short amount of time, and it should be that simple for the musician to actually go and do it.
Okay. All right. So just let's pause for a sec, and we'll try and see if we can get some of the network issues we've got going on today.
I'll stop the script.
Yeah, stop the script. So basically, we should be still streaming. If there's a few people in chat saying that we're not, but according to YouTube here at my end, it says that I'm live. I'm looking at stream health, and it's saying it's good. So it's not saying it's beautiful. Normally it says it's beautiful, but we are doing a few things today that we don't normally do. So we've got basically Skype coming in twice because Andrew's got his shared screen and his camera, and we've got Chob down the bottom there who's looking pretty in his studio, and Darren's up top. So there's quite a bit going on at my end. So hopefully it survives. So I'll just keep track of any warning messages I get, and you guys can be my little eyes and ears. Now, what we're going to do is this is going to be the end of the main show, and the good thing about it from here on is anyone who is now on the YouTube channel and is in live chat, you're going to have direct access to Andrew, and none of this will be put back up on YouTube. So this will be, you can swear at him. You can, like I said, you can throw your synth at the screen if you want. Chob, you can, say whatever you like. We're now in what we call free for all now. So so it's a bye from the main show people who are watching this on the replay, and we're going straight into free for all. And Andrew, you've done an amazing job so far. So well done for you. Thanks very much too. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
So guys in chat, now's a chance to ask any sort of curly questions that you think you might be able to. Maybe you can get Andrew to stump on them. I don't know. Just give it a go. What about you, Darren or Chob? You got any questions for Andrew while we're here?
So when do we expect it?
Sorry, Darren, go.
Oh, sorry. So when do we expect it to actually hit, come out for us? When we're actually going to get MIDI 2.0? Any looming?
Well, Roland had put out the keyboard, and I think as soon as the USB document's done, which I believe should be finished in the next month or so to the public, I'm assuming that they will do the firmware updates to make sure that device can actually start sending that information.
Okay, that's a good answer. And what about you, Chob? You had a question?
Yeah. It was similar. It was basically how much are we then going to be reliant on our vendors to supply firmware updates, etc., to get our devices to run MIDI 2. I guess we're totally at their mercy then.
Yeah, I think so. Unless you've got open source kind of product, and there's not many of them.
Yeah.
But I would suggest actually getting on to the manufacturers and pushing them.
Yeah, definitely.
It worked for the Electro guys. They did the, the Electro guys did that change.org petition, didn't they, a couple of years back?
So I think we just lost Chob there for a sec. He's frozen. That's all right. I'm hoping he'll pop in back. I think he can hear us, but we're losing his video. The world internet is got a coronavirus right now. I don't know what's going on. I'm only just a muso, just like you guys. The stream is still working, so they're all saying it. Look, one thing I'll actually make a point about Chob. If you've frozen and you still can hear us, you can end the call and then recall back in. It'll automatically pop you back in, mate. So if you think there's a problem you're in, just try that out and see if that helps you. So yeah, what I was going to say is basically, what we can say versus what we can't say, because there are things out that are happening that we're not allowed to talk about because there's NDAs with manufacturers. And I haven't signed any, so I can say whatever I want. But I know, if you look at the NAMM demos that were done, they were using Yamaha synths. They had that expressive demo where they showed the guy playing on the keyboard and he was moving his fingers up and down the keys, and there was a I'll get Andrew to talk about that in a sec, actually, because that's interesting. Because that is actually probably the most exciting part of MIDI 2.0, I think, from a musician's point of view. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, other than that, Roland have released the 888 keyboard, the Mark II. Is it a Mark II or Mark III? I think it's a Mark II.
Mark II.
They've hinted that they're going to backwards firmware update some of their gear. I don't know how much they're going to do because some of it might not be powerful enough to do it. They might not have the integrated processors in them might not be powerful enough to run MIDI 2.0 because you do need to have a bit of power behind it to do it. And the other thing too is that your DAW is probably, I think it's probably going to be your first touch that you'll see in MIDI 2.0 because already they've got MPE and some DAWs, if not all, and that's kind of probably going to be your first point of call where you'll start to see it. So, Andrew, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think if you're looking at who's doing demos, there have been demos from Steinberg. There's been demos from Korg, Roland, and Yamaha. And there's a lot of other big names who have been involved in it too. Like, Native Instruments is heavily involved. I'm trying to think else. But yeah, a lot of big names, and there's a lot of interest in. Now that the specs have been released, there's a lot more interest from a lot of the manufacturers and the smaller manufacturers as well to get involved.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of good potential.
Yeah. We got Chob's back, which is good. Yeah, just call back in, mate, if you feel that you've crashed. And as you can see, it usually fixes most probs. But that's all right. It's the first time. You're a noob. No, It's all good,
I've
mate.
been a noob for a long time.
It's nice to be a newbie.
But anything. Always time to be a noob.
It's always. I'm a noob every day. Yeah, so Andrew, let's talk a bit about that expressive stuff. I reckon that's going to get a lot of people interested. So, do we want to try? Do we want to show that video from NAMM? Do you reckon it's good enough to show? It was a very bad. There was a very bad video version of it. Some guy I think filmed it with his phone, but it did show them using the mod. Was it the Mod X?
I think it was a montage.
And he was actually running his hands up and down the keys.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like vertical and horizontal aftertouch in a sense. But yeah, maybe you could talk a bit about expression and the new sort of things that we can look forward to, and I'll see if I can dig up that video while we're talking.
Yes. So in that demo, they use what's called touch keys, which you can buy from the people. I can't remember the actual company name. But effectively, you put it on each key and it allows you to sort of have the direction. So, where your finger is, much like how MPE works, but not like a roller keyboard, where it's actually like a hard surface. The interesting thing about that is they had that hooked into another device on the side. So it took sound, if I remember correctly, it took the MIDI controls from the keyboard, plus the touch key controls, going into a separate set of box, and then it had its own sort of sound engine off the side. It wasn't actually running off that machine, as far as the sound was concerned, if I remember correctly.
Okay, all right. Do you want me to? Do you want me to roll it now? Do you think it's a good segue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I think this is the video. Like, I've completely done this unprepared, so I think this is the video.
Like this. Maybe today this is not musical, but I can show the effect of the keynote. He will control the sound by the hitting point. Example is we use the per note pitch bend.
Per note pitch bend.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yep.
Everyone's going to do this. Everyone's going to do this, except they won't be doing pitch bend. They'll be doing the filter mouth. Wow.
It'll be great for theremins.
Great for theremins, yeah.
On that video, at the end of that, has they got the example of the Roland with the two faders?
Yes, here it is. Let's do that.
That's a really good example.
The little box on the left of the laptop, wasn't it? How do I get it back? There.
Yeah.
I can also I can change these bar graphs. These are all being done with the MIDI to UMP messages. If I move the faders, the on-screen controls respond. It looks like the debugger might have died. This is the actual UMP messages displayed on the side here. And the interesting demo is this is being controlled with high resolution. That's being controlled with 7-bit traditional MIDI controllers.
Oh, that's good.
You can do it on something affordable hardware-wise.
Look at that, guys. There's your difference.
And that is actually him doing 128 steps.
That wasn't me.
And it was actually a really good indication of why you want that extra resolution.
Yeah. Now, we did get a question from Twitch Fetish. It's great, Nick. Let's get this one up. Seems to be a concern, so maybe worth talking about the power required for a device to support MIDI 2.0, i.e. processing power. That comes back to protocol versus, Big good one to talk about, yeah?
Yeah, I think this goes back to that whole idea about the microcontrollers that get used. So I think I was really pushing the limit with the Arduino Duke here. So I think that there is going to be a bit of a push to get higher microcontrollers.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that they're becoming so much cheaper. Like that Daisy that we're talking about would have plenty of processing to do B2, but your typical, Arduino Atmel 328 is going to probably suffer.
Yeah. You got to have a decent 32-bit processor.
Yeah,
or 64 if you can, of course. Yeah. Probably 64, right?
You can do it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Now, I'm just checking. It's hard for me to sort of do all this and check chat. I've got my chat window you'll see me sort of look down here. So they're all sort of talking about other products that are doing this now. So yeah, I think when you guys talk about products like Andrew, Darren, you've got that Touche thing, don't you? Is it called Touche?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Touche.
Now that's MPE, right? So let's talk a little bit about Touche. So let's talk a little bit about MIDI 2.0 and MPE, or maybe we should say MIDI 2.0 versus MPE. Andrew, over to you.
It's interesting. I think MPE fit a hole that was needed, right? Because there had been no movement on any MIDI 2 stuff for so long. The problem about MPE is it kind of chews up all of your channels, and it's a bit of it works, but it's a bit of a hack.
Yeah,
is my personal opinion. I think they did a really good job of what they needed to do. But now MIDI 2 will do all the same things as MPE. I think what'll be interesting is that you'll probably get, because MPE generally is over USB, I think a lot of those developers will probably have a switch mode between the two over the next couple of years.
Yeah. So
and they're perfectly designed. Like the little rolling thing that I bought for testing.
Yep.
And I've done translation between MPE and MIDI 2, and it's fine.
Right. So kind of what you're saying is, and this is trying to lame it down for everyone, is that remembering the protocol will work out whether you got MIDI 1 or MIDI 2. Okay, so if you're using the Touche, Darren, sorry, it'll drop to MIDI 1 for your Touche because that's MPE, and it's not going to say no more MPE, we don't like you anymore. It's basically that's MIDI 1, right, pretty much, and then whoever decides to embrace MIDI 2, they're going to say, well, this can do that, because you saw all that the basic expressive stuff on that video we just watched, plus a whole bunch more. At the same time, it's going to bring all your device parameters and functions and everything, and it's just going to dump it to whatever it is that you are working with, whether it be you're on a DAW or whether you're communicating device to device. So does that sort of explain it right, Andrew?
Yeah, and the other benefit of MIDI 2 over MPE is that MPE is limited by how many MIDI channels you actually have. Yeah. So usually you have one control channel and then up to 15 notes. And while none of us can have 15 fingers to hold down keys for, it does mean that you don't have those restrictions anymore.
Yeah. So that comment that I made was kind of related to what the guys and girls as well in the chat room were kind of talking about. There's fears out there that it's crap and it's not gonna answer the questions of today, and there's also fears out there that it's going to make all their devices not work. And I knew we'd get people talking about this, but just remember, I think from a really, really sensible point of view, MIDI 2.0 is not just for, I think Axel said it, it's not just for today. It's not for 2020. No. It's for the next, if MIDI 1.0 lasted us 35 years, technically we should be hoping for MIDI 2.0 to last us the next, at least 10, 20 years at least. So it's supposed to be when the guys actually started it, that was one of their KPIs. They said, look, we aren't just going to write it just to fix the problems of now. We're going to write it and we're going to try and think about let's make this thing sort of work for the future as well. What are your thoughts on that, Andrew?
Yeah, look, I think that's the other thing too. Is I would not be saying I'm not going to buy any more gear until MIDI 2s are come out, because there's no point waiting for that. Yeah. It'll come as it comes, and it's still going to be backwards compatible, and you'll end up just integrating it into your setups. And it's very interesting to actually hear back the history on how they actually put it all together. There was one at the AGM, one of the guys got up and spoke, and he was the original president of the MMA, and they were just kind of trying to put something together, and they had all kinds of dramas and headaches, but they had he was telling a story about how there was a US government official that said to him, you can't make a specification like this, you have to take some time, you have to take years, and it's got to be approved. And they didn't do it. They kind of just ignored all of that. And I think it did it to the benefit of everybody else.
Well, they didn't really do that the first time either, did they? I'm sure everyone's watched history videos of, when Dave Smith and forget the Roland guy's name, but he's passed on now. He was paramount in it, and actually there's some good news even with that, because now Roland are actually pretty heavily involved in this one as well. So it's good to see,
Yeah, look, one thing I will say for the people involved is they're dedicated because they have a genuine love of what they're doing. I mean, it's been funny watching some of the comments, because I think some people have this sort of paranoia that the businesses are all out to get each other, and they're actually really not. They're actually trying to work together. That's the one thing I'll give them, is that they actually put all their differences aside and actually try and do something. Doesn't mean they always get it right, but they actually really do try. They're actually quite genuine people.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take this down another path, and I reckon this path may or may not excite people. Okay, so what we know of right now is that I would say we're pretty safe. We're pretty safe to say right now that wireless MIDI is a bit shit. Okay, so let's just address the elephant in the room. Anyone who's got a Bluetooth MIDI thing, like I've got the Yamaha BT01, it's not like, I wouldn't be relying on it to be latency perfect, and it's going to cause all sorts of issues. I mean, even the MPC Live has got Bluetooth in it. All that sort of stuff is kind of where we're at with especially the Bluetooth low powered, Bluetooth light, or whatever they call it. So
really,
what a lot of people are hoping is MIDI 2.0 is going to solve that. Now, just remember, MIDI 2.0 is not going to solve it. It's not actually anything to do with wireless technology or anything like that. But what it does do is because remembering it's a protocol, right? What it does do is it opens up, the potential for the wireless technology to be more sophisticated. So whether wireless is crap right now, and whether we are ever going to see a future of it being good, nobody knows, right? And that's not up to MIDI 2.0. But whether what we can do over wireless will be improved with MIDI 2.0, that is a definite yes. And maybe, Andrew, you could sort of elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think what we'll need to do is especially for Bluetooth, is wait for the new versions of Bluetooth that have the ultra low latency.
Yeah.
And I think that's once we do that, I think it should be revisited. I've got the same thing. I've got one of those little Bluetooth devices. They're great for very basic kind of messaging, but you flood them really easily and you'll start getting some really bad latency. Or you don't certainly try and run timing clocks over them, because it just doesn't work. I think you've still got a couple of years before you see anything along those lines.
Okay. It's good to know, though. I mean, look, it's something that I have a bugbear about cables. I mean, I've got boxes of the bloody things behind me. I've got MIDI cable box, USB cable box, audio cable box, and we were talking earlier with our meme, the power brick box as well. So for me, that's a bugbear. And at the moment that we can actually alleviate some of these cables, the better. Now, at the moment, one of the ways we can alleviate it is by using a USB and having power and data and audio travel over USB. So that's one way, because we can, segregate 4 cables into one. So that's a start, and obviously without latency loss and things like that. But wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have any cables and we could just have all, the Eurorack guys aside, of course, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, so, it's, to me, that's a corner of music which I think we're bursting to get into, and we haven't been able to get there yet. So maybe it's a, watch this space type answer. Who knows?
Well, the other thing I'd be looking at is things like Dante and AVB and those kinds of things, which is all of those multi-channel audio.
Yeah.
Over Ethernet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's available now. It's just very expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, Inky says maybe why does no one uses Bluetooth anyway? Maybe Bluetooth is the actual the Achilles heel to this. Maybe the Bluetooth thing it should be scrapped. Maybe they should Wi-Fi. I don't know. I'm not a network engineer. I'm certainly not a data over radio waves engineer anyway. I studied it in postgrad uni. I did. I literally studied Wi-Fi technology. I studied Wi-Fi security, and I actually studied packets traveling over. I mean, I got right into the absolute BS side of Wi-Fi, and I absolutely could not stand it. So I can tell you, from my point of view, if you ever want to get into protocols and packets and all that sort of stuff, it ain't fun. But anyway, let's go to the next thing, and that is, I think some of the people are sort of fearful that MIDI 2.0 might be more complex than MIDI 1. And I know the answer to that, but I think maybe Andrew's good at answering that one. Is it going to be more complex? People are just going to be going, oh my God, what have I got myself into?
Depends. I think the other way to look at it is, if you're a programmer, it's probably got some things that are more complex and other things that are simpler. If you're a musician, you just won't notice. And at the end of the day, it's actually going to be, I hit the key, it sends the note on, it sounds like it's a bit smoother than the 127 steps. You won't have to worry about 14-bit controls versus 7-bit controls. All of those things just go away.
Yeah.
So I think in that respect, the average musician is going to be a lot easier. When it comes to programming, it's only a little bit harder than the existing one. And some people may even think it's easier. When it comes to things like profiles and sysex, because they're standard across whatever you're doing, it's the same. So you're not having to do, like if you're building a sysex librarian, you have to go through each manual and try to figure out how that all works and all the rest of it. With what's being done now, you just set it up once and it will work for all devices. So I actually think we're going to find more products that come out to support this, because it's actually standardized. You're not having to do it per device.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of like the idea that there was that thing where they were talking about one device being able to see another device, and it just said, oh, hi, I know who you are now, and I know who you are, and I know what you can do, and I know what you can do, and the musician hasn't had to do a thing. It's literally they've just hit the button, the power button, connected the two, whether it be via DIN or whatever. Let's not argue about that. And then all of a sudden now they're talking to each other. And that video example that we showed earlier with the reface and the was it the monologue? That was an example of
Minilog or monologue.
Minilog or whatever. Yeah, that was an example of two devices just talking directly to each other over MIDI DIN. So does that make it too complex for a musician? I mean, you guys can answer that question in the chat. Did that example where you had the reface CS talking to the Minilog and the Minilog talking to the reface CS and vice versa, Was that too complex an example? I mean, I'm going to answer that. I think it was dead easy. Chob, what do you reckon? Was that an easy thing where you just plugged two synths together via DIN, and all of a sudden now he's controlling both of them?
Yeah, it's interesting because 20 years ago I was trying to do this. Exactly that, and failing miserably, of course. So to see it actually coming to fruition is really quite interesting because it opens up a whole new avenue of investigation for me that I was attempting 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I think keeping you on there, Chob, too, I think Andrew made a good comment about sequences before, didn't he? And I know that's a big love of yours. So the MIDI 2.0 is going to really open the world of sequences up as well, you know, with the whole parameter functionality, that side of it, you know. It's just going to know, the device is going to know about all of its sequences capability. What do you think of that?
It's just waiting now for everything to catch up. Yeah. I think it's been a long time coming, and I think sometimes you just have to go, and releasing it now, great, go for it. There'll be issues, I'm sure, but they can be resolved. But it'll be waiting for the rest of industry to catch up.
Yeah.
That'll be my issue.
Speaking of issues is a good one, because Andrew right now is actually, that's what he's working on, aren't you, Andrew? You're working on testing it and doing test scenarios, aren't you?
Yeah, so one of the things that they're looking at is making sure that everything's, well, not everything, but providing compliance tools. So the thing that I was demonstrating earlier is actually a compliance tool that the members of the MMA can actually use, and it actually has a list of questions and things that they actually should be trying to achieve. So one of the big fears I keep hearing is, MIDI 2 is going to be broken the same way that MIDI 1 was broken when it first came out. So hopefully these kinds of tools, and I'm not the only one doing them, there's a few other people doing them as well, will actually mitigate those kinds of problems.
Yeah. Well, that's what, I think we're all hoping for that. So
yeah.
I don't think anyone's really challenged Andrew tonight. I really don't. He's answered all questions like an absolute champion, and you know the professional that he is, of course. So we have been absolutely in your debt for all the really nice bit of info that you've shared with us. I guarantee you, this is probably just scratching the tip of the pinhead on what this. I'm sure this video will go up and there'll be a ton of people watching it in the replay, and it will be asked. They'll be asking questions, and they'll miss out on this part. That's all right. Bad luck to them. This part will exist, and only the people that ask me nicely will get it. People like Chob,
secret unlisted video.
Darren and Chob will get it.
Very kind.
Yeah, but anyone else can just bugger off. No. So if you do want to know what I do, and that is, it was purely a ploy for me to rip money out of you because I'm a greedy bastard. I'm going to be putting the full show up on my Patreon, and I've got a massive following on Patreon too. I must admit, because trying to rip people off, it just works so well. At the moment, I've got one Patreon.
I've got two.
So this is working. If you guys are thinking of a business model, just copy Rand's right now. It's working beautifully.
Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you what. For this bit of the show, do you want me to do an unboxing live?
Yeah, let's do it. Go for it.
Right, well, you chat amongst yourselves. I've got to get the box yet.
Oh, okay.
You'll like this, by the way.
We'll just do what Darren said because we're good little boys, aren't we? Anyway,
is this for the secret area off to his left?
Yeah, don't go. That's like the Tata store, isn't it? It opens up into this massive warehouse where he just goes and grabs any synth that he wants. Yeah.
The storeroom is bigger than his studio.
He's walked into the light, I can tell you that much. He doesn't even know what we're saying. He's got a box, that's for sure.
Oh.
All right.
A box.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not going to that.
Yep. I ordered this not so long ago because I really needed it, and they sent it me in this box. It took about a week, I think. No, it might have been a bit less than that. We want to see what's in it.
I do want to flag Foxy's comment about MIDI too, but we're not going to talk about it just yet. But Foxy, don't run off because I reckon we've got an answer for you about fears in a sec. So yeah, I flagged it. Cool. All right, keep going, Darren.
You see that? Yeah.
It's a pile of paper. Oh, this is great for YouTube.
Nope. There it is.
Box.
Nope. You see that?
Yes. Oh mate, I've got so much gas right now. What the hell? Why is it in such a big box?
Exactly. That I ordered because I needed it. It's just a bus cable. Yeah. That's it. And it came in all that.
I reckon. Did you pay like £20 postage for that?
No, I did pay extra for the postage. I think it's about £5.
Because they charge per cubic meter, or cubic feet or whatever it is, don't they? Jesus Christ.
They do. I sent a parcel last week.
Look at the paper in it.
It's like this. Oh.
What's that movie with the is it Jim Carrey where he's the delivery guy and he kicks the box down the street? Ace Ventura or something? It was a 90s movie, I think it was. You could have done the FedEx video. You could have kicked that anywhere in the world and it still would have survived.
The thing is, I had to sign for that because it wouldn't fit through the letterbox when it could have actually gone. So I had to actually be in for it as well.
That is so good.
But it is Euro rack, so it's it needs the extra.
Yeah.
That has to go down as one of the best unboxing videos I've ever seen on YouTube. Guys, you've seen it here first. Darren is an absolute champion. You know what you have to do next, Darren? You have to put that box in. You have to put that box in your freezer.
Yes.
No one will get that joke.
A frozen patch cake.
No one will get that joke.
I couldn't believe it because when he turned up and knocked on the door, I went, "Oh, my parcel. What have I ordered?" And he handed me the box, and I was thinking, "Oh, I don't know what I've ordered. I've only ordered a cable, so it must be the wrong house."
Yeah. I don't remember ordering that.
Exactly. Gee, talk about waste.
So there was a famous joke, wasn't there, Andrew, by a well-known Australian comedian who got a bit drunk one night and vomited on the dog and said, "I don't remember eating that." Anyway, so on that note, we shall wind slowly. We'll wind slowly the stream up. But I do want to quickly just jump onto that comment that Foxy made. I don't know if she's still there, or he. Sorry, I'm assuming it's a he or a she. Anyway, I guess it looked simple watching it. She's talking about MIDI 2.0. I guess it's understanding how it does it for me as a newbie is complicated. Like I said, and I think it said just plug it in and hope that it works. So I think we kind of touched on that before, didn't we, Andrew? It should just work.
It's a big aim. So with what I was demonstrating, I think my vision is that you could plug in a device and your DAW would actually create the tracks automatically for you, and you know what's on those tracks, and then you could have a little settings box and it could just open up whatever it is that you need. It's kind of like VSTs work like that now. So let's do it with hardware.
Yeah. I think a lot of the dev has gone through that. Yeah,
Sorry?
You go. That's right. You go.
One of the interesting things that came out was accessibility for blind people. So this was one of the questions that came up during one of the MIDI 1 sessions. And they said, I was just going to actually help all the blind people that, and actually should hopefully do it because that's part of the aim. But someone was telling a story about how they had to take a montage with someone, I think it might have been Stevie Wonder, I don't know, but they actually had to show them physically where all the different buttons were on the screen and train them over 6 weeks about where to press what they needed to do to edit the machine.
Yeah.
And so now you can actually plug this in and actually have screen readers and stuff that work with it.
Right. That's pretty
So
cool.
there's a whole industry there that you haven't even really, no one's really touched.
That kind of reminds me of this weird email that I got during the week. I don't know why. People send me, like, being a YouTuber, you get sent all these weird emails. So someone sent me this email, and here we go. I'll read the email, but I won't say who it's from because we want to protect them. Anyway, I need a MIDI unit that contains. Let me just bring it up here for me. So I need a MIDI unit that contains 7 switches for Midas M32C, similar to Behringer XC. Thanks for letting me know that. As following: 2 switches for muting 2 independent channels, 4 switches for muting to 4 independent mute groups or 4 DCA mutes, 1 switch for muting 1 bus mix. Can you make this for me? And how much would it cost? And what is your delivery time and expectation? Someone sending it, like, my location is in, I won't say, some country that we probably don't have a lot of viewers in. What the hell? What do I do with that email? Reply and say, yeah, sure. It's going to be $10,000. Chop, what do you reckon I should say, mate?
I just say yes and put some ludicrous price on. And if they go for it, go for it.
Maybe I could get another Patreon. As long as you join my $1 Patreon channel, I'll make it for you, please. No, I'm by the way, I'm being facetious about Patreon because I think it's a bit of a stupid platform. But anyway, I think you guys got that. But yeah, that's the sort of weird emails I get, Andrew. Shall I just forward them to you?
No.
We should put that on Funny Side. I reckon that would have almost made it. Maybe Dazza can make a meme out of that. Dazza's our other resident Australian that makes memes. But yeah, anyway, so that was completely out of the blue. Guys, speaking of weird things, on the Mac side of stuff, right? I had my trusty old, Darren, you might remember my trusty old Mac Mini 2012 edition that's sitting right over here, and it's been actually tonight it was showing all your YouTube videos, so you can be thankful that it's been through a surgical procedure. Yes, it went to hospital, and it had an operation, and the doctor was very kind. He actually said, look, I'll put the things that we removed in a jar for you. So yes, these were the things that it removed. The doctor. Memory. I had 2 memory chips fail on me, and for those who are geeky enough, they'll know that if you have failing memory chips, basically your Mac or PC, whatever you've got, it doesn't matter, or even synth, will just start behaving like it's got the glass barbecue out and smoked crack, pretty much. And that was what my Mac was doing probably for about 6 months, and I knew it was doing it, but I just kind of went, I'll just the Australian way. I should be right, you know. But I eventually
Just around a bit.
I eventually decided that I'll buy some more memory. Now, one of the things that I noticed about this was weird, because when I did the upgrade, I don't know if it's going to focus on that. Focus. Come on, focus. Don't focus on me. Focus on this. It's hard. It's not focusing. Come on. Anyway, don't worry about it. It actually says on those chips that they're both 16 gig chips, which meant that technically my Mac Mini had 32 gig of memory in it. But Mac Mini 32 2012 edition can't have 32 gig of RAM, can only have 16. I wonder if those memory chips were they were just protesting. They were just going like, you've never used me. I feel unused. You know, I feel half used, whatever they've said. Then they've just had a tantrum and decided to leave. The new one has got 2 8 gig chips because that's 16 and it's working beautifully. For those who want me to bash brands, don't forget this video is not going to be on YouTube for long. It's G-Skill. I don't know if you guys have heard of G-Skill. I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't think.
G-Skill, yeah.
I mean, I thought to myself, gee, that wasn't very skillful. Anyway, I probably wouldn't be recommending that brand for Mac Minis in the future. If you're wondering what brand I put in now, let's see how they go. It's Corsair. So we'll see how Corsair goes.
Yeah, I use Corsair engines in the PC.
Yeah, I thought you guys would like a bit of geekiness, and I know you guys love talking PC sometimes. So they only cost me about $40 to replace, so it's not like that's about 20 quid for you guys over in the UK. So that wasn't too bad. So yeah. Anyway, that's complete out of the blue stuff. I know you guys are interested in that. Like, if you ever want me to do stuff more to do with computers and stuff, let me know. I do have some ideas that I could put on this stream. By the way, Chob, how did you enjoy your Virgin experience tonight or today for you? How did you enjoy it? Give us a little feedback.
Yeah, no, really enjoyed that. It was not as stressful as I thought it might be. I think the MIDI side of things was a little bit over my head quite a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But that's fine, because I did download the PDF, incidentally, to have a look at it, and it's like 152 pages, or a bit more, I think, which blew me mind, because I got to page 3 and then had to give up. I think it was bleeding out the ears. But it is something I'm very interested in, but from the user side.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
all
good.
we need to know is, does it work? And that's about it, really, because we'll get to play, and so we don't need to know the internal workings of it. But I do like it. It's like being able to use, speak to different synths and VSTs. That's brilliant in that. Without having to go through all the, like say, your programming and all that stuff. Where you just load it up, finds the synth, your VST synth, or your hardware synth, or even modules, because they'll be having MIDI to CV converters and stuff.
Yeah,
so
absolutely,
it's just basically it's like USB 3 and USB 3. It'll work down to USB 2, 1, but you never use them because USB 3 is faster, but you can do more with it. But it still works on the older stuff. So it's got to be a win-win when it comes.
Yeah, and I think Andrew, that should be a good bit of feedback for you from a bunch of users of synths. That's what we are. We're not we don't work for any of these big companies, so we can pretty much say what we want, which is the truth. And at the end of the day, I think being a developer of anything, the only time you ever hear from people is when something goes wrong. Otherwise, it's just silence.
Why is it not working?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
it's like when it works, it's like no one pays any attention, and as soon as it goes wrong, it's you didn't do it right.
You can always you can always guarantee one glitch somewhere that just not you plug it in, the first person plugged it in, and they find the only glitch that you never found. It's not working after all that.
Well, we did the demo earlier today, and the actual workbench thing broke when I was trying to show it earlier. And I figured out it's because I'd actually knocked out the SD card on the actual synth, and it actually caused something that's never come up before.
There you go.
So, I raced off and fixed that this afternoon.
There you go. Well, we got you there, Andrew. Same question, but in a different way. Have you enjoyed your Virgin experience and being on a stream? And how did you feel?
Yeah, it was good.
You enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it.
I hope we had.
With the Brisbane Synth group that actually is run by a guy called John up here. It's really good because I get to nerd out with people for hours. It's fantastic.
Yeah, we like to nerd out. So, question for both you noobs. Can we have you back? Don't mind putting you on the spot. I mean, you're just in front of hundreds of people right now. Awesome.
Yeah, my fees are very reasonable.
Now, don't forget.
One Patreon subscriber.
Yeah, Inverted has got his own Patreon site.
Yeah, I've got 2.
He's better than me.
It's
already about size already, guys.
Again,
we were doing that before. I was going to say, Andrew, we'd love to get you back to actually talk to you about your actual passion, which is synths, of course. And it's not, being take your MIDI 2.0 t-shirt off and put your Andrew t-shirt back on. So
I was looking at those ones along the bottom there.
We were eyeing off what you got there behind you. So look at that.
Give
us a quick rundown.
Oh, okay. So this is just the ones that I'm using at the moment. I'm a bit of a Nord fiend, so I like lots of Nords. And then, I really get into the bass station and the mono station. The micro has been really awesome.
Yep.
The Venom is kind of like a hidden thing, and that's the montage that I've got at the moment.
Wow. So is that a white montage?
Yes.
Wow.
I also got that one.
Yes. Yeah.
That's actually a lot of fun.
Is that the Empress?
And my absolute favorite part. Sorry. Is that one?
The Deluge, yes.
Oh, the Deluge.
The New Zealanders.
Yes. And they're actually doing the show at some point soon. And I'm going to go to the Brisbane one. So really looking forward to it. Actually. And there's other synths throughout the house, but the lead doesn't quite lead that far.
That's awesome. You
need to go Bluetooth.
Or just be like me and just don't plug anything in and just go, why does this not work? No. And then send it back to Roland and say, oi. No, I don't do that. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very, very, very much for joining me on Patreon. No, I'm not only joking. Enough Patreon jokes. Thank you very much for being on the YouTube stream this week. Much appreciated. I think it's been an awesome topic, and we've tried to keep it not too dry, because MIDI 2.0 can be a little bit nerdy and dry. So hopefully whoever watched has had a nice bit of an insight into where it's going to go. I'm actually really excited about the expressive side of it. That's probably one of my, I think as a musician, that's probably the most important thing that you guys will get out of it. But the secondary part is my programming side, and I think these devices being able to talk to each other is going to be a massive win. And other than that, I think everything else will just kind of fall into place. So whoever's worried about it, don't be worried about it. Know that good people like this guy down that way.
That's the direction.
He's why is it that our brains don't know how to cross over? Anyway, Andrew's good. He's working on it, and there's a whole bunch of cool guys that he works with, and his website, by the way, if you want to check him out, is listed in the description below on this video. It has been there all the time. Don't forget to check out Inverted Popes' channel, like I said before, and also don't forget to check out Darren's video, which will be tomorrow. I'm going to drop you in the poo there, Darren. Is that right? Tomorrow?
No, it's tomorrow. It's sort of Inky's track in a way, because I asked for some suggestion, and she said she wanted a 142 beat per minute dance track. So that's where I went with this one. So it's Acid with Faith Hill.
Oh, cool. Faith Hill. And if you're wondering where Darren's channel is on YouTube, it's also linked below. So make sure you sub to that. If you haven't, if you have, well, don't click on it, because that might unsub you. Throw something at the screen for me. I don't care. Anyway, all the best, everyone. Say goodbye. Wave. We're going to hit the unstream button.
See ya, guys.
Ungodly unstream. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I'll have a good
one.
Nice to see you.
See ya.